The number one reason why people struggle and fail to lose weight is because they don't know how to stay full in a calorie deficit. What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to the video. If you're new here, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. And first off, please ignore this huge mess on my desk here. I am generally a pretty neat person. However, my desk literally is like the messiest thing out of everything else in my entire place. Everything else is pretty neat and organized except my desk. I just throw random stuff on my desk and I forget about it. But yeah, I don't want to go too much on that. But as you can probably tell by the title, we are going to be going over 10 tips to help you stay full in a calorie deficit. But before we dive in, I do want to give a little bit of a background, intro, whatever you want to call it. And so, what is the main reason why people struggle with weight loss? If you were to ask me, it's not because people don't have a diet plan they need to follow. It's not because they don't know the perfect calorie deficit for them. It's not because they don't know what foods to eat. It's not because they don't know what exercise routine to follow. The number one reason why people struggle and fail to lose weight is because they don't know how to stay full in a calorie deficit. And I don't care who you are, if you're in a calorie deficit for long enough, you are going to experience some form of hunger eventually, even if you applied all of these tips. However, we can make the process suck as least as possible applying these tips.
Here to make you not suck.
So without further ado, let's dive into the topic of this video. Alright, so 10 tips on how to stay full in a calorie deficit. Number one is going to be increasing your protein intake. Why is this important?
Okay, got protein, we need protein.
And there are a multitude of reasons why I put this as number one. Protein, in my opinion, is the most important macronutrient. Whether your goals are to lose weight, to gain weight, to lose fat, to build muscle, to do both at the same time, protein has so many benefits to it, so you need to make sure that you are eating enough protein. And the reason why it's made number one on this list is because it's the most satiating macronutrient. Satiating is just a fancy way of saying it's the most satisfying and filling. There's a reason why people don't really binge or eat a shit ton of protein in one sitting. It's more so these hyper palatable foods like cake and donuts and ice cream, stuff that are chock full of carbs and fats and contain relatively little protein.
Look at all the junk food.
Another reason for it is that protein is essential in the muscle building process. And if you are trying to lose fat, which chances are if you're watching this video, you are probably on some weight loss or fat loss journey. And so if you are on a weight loss or fat loss journey, muscle building is going to be a key component in aiding that journey and also to help set you up for future goals or future success. And lastly, protein has the highest thermic effect of food, and thermic effect of food is basically a fancy way of saying how many calories does it take to actually digest the food that you're eating. Because think about it, the steak you eat, the fish you eat, the rice, the butter you eat, doesn't automatically get transferred as energy to your body. It has to get digested through your digestive systems and get processed there, and that's going to take some amount of calories before it gets converted to energy that your body can actually use. And so according to the science, thermic effect of food is how much energy it actually takes to digest and process all of that food before it actually becomes a usable form of energy for your body.
You actually burn calories while eating.
And then as we can see from this graphic here, protein has the highest. It's about 20 to 30% of the calories you get from protein. About 20 to 30% of that is going to be used to digest and process that protein. So for example, if you ate 100 calories worth of pure protein, about 20 to 30 calories of it is going to be used to digest and process that and metabolize that before it even becomes a usable form of energy for your body. And as we can see, carbohydrates and fats are much lower, where carbohydrates are about 5 to 10% and fats are about 0 to 3%. Truth be told, most of the clients that I've worked with, when they say that they are starving or hungry out of their minds, and then I go and take a look at their protein intake, and it's like 40 to 60 grams a day, and we definitely need to work on bumping those numbers up.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
And as you've probably heard time and time again, the 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, that's a decent recommendation. However, for a lot of people that I've worked with, their protein intake is nowhere near that to begin with. So it can be kind of hard when you start off at 40 to 60 grams and then try to get like 100 or even 200 grams of protein in some cases. So instead of trying to shoot for some arbitrary number that seems so far out of reach, just start by building up your protein intake from where you are currently now. Start tracking how much protein that you're currently eating, and then start even doubling the serving sizes of protein that you're currently eating right now, or even adding a scoop or two of protein here and there throughout the day. That way you can slowly work your way up to build up that protein intake. And even then, you don't need 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That's not some magical number where you're suddenly going to burn a bunch of fat or build a ton of muscle. The research has shown that you can still get similar effects not getting that much protein, but you can definitely benefit a lot, especially if your protein intake is very low, somewhere in like the 40 to 60 grams per day range. If you increase that just by a little bit, you're still going to get a lot of benefits from that. Number 2, eat your veggies. As your parents have said over and over again, there's a reason why they said that.
Eat your green vegetables.
Number 2, as your parents have said over and over again, eat your freaking vegetables. And while they might not have been nutrition experts, they were clearly onto something. And look, I know it's cliche to say eat your vegetables to lose weight or eat salads to lose weight, but there's a reason behind it. Vegetables are very low calories and they're very filling and high volume. And what this means is that for the huge amount of vegetables you can eat, you get relatively low amount of calories for that huge amount of food. And for this, it checks off 2 boxes. It helps you stay in a calorie deficit because it doesn't contain that many calories, and also it fills you up, which then causes you to less likely to binge on all of these junk foods, all of these highly palatable foods just sitting around your house, because when you're full, you're not really that turned on to eating more stuff. And look, when I'm saying eat more vegetables, this does not mean you should be cutting every single thing in your diet out and replacing it with salads and a bunch of veggies, because we still need proper intake of enough carbohydrates, fats, and protein. So if you're currently just eating a bunch of random snack or junk foods, it can help to replace some of that food with more healthy foods like vegetables. And truth be told, everyone likes to talk about these secret fat burning foods. I really think vegetables are that secret fat burning food that's been in front of us all along, but it doesn't sound as grabby or as sexy to say, hey, eat your vegetables rather than drink this magic poop detox water. So I don't want to sound like your parent, but eat your freaking vegetables.
Why are you eating stem first?
This is a new food for me. How else should I eat it?
The other way. Just eat it. Come on. Here comes the airplane. There you go. Open, open into the hangar. There you go.
Michael.
Yep, eat it. Put it in your mouth and just eat it. Take
God,
a
I hate it.
I don't care whether you hate it. You said
Michael,
you do it.
All right.
Michael.
Eat it. Eat it.
You're killing him, Michael.
All right. All right. All right. Shh.
Okay, I ate some fluffy part. Can I be done?
Let me see if you swallowed it. Open your mouth. Under your tongue. Oh, God.
Oh.
Number 3, don't starve yourself. I feel like this point is pretty self-explanatory, but I still see this time and time again. People who starve themselves when they want to lose weight, they just slash their calories in half and they start eating like a bird when normally they're eating so much more calories, they're eating a shit ton of food, and so they try to make this huge 180 switch.
Can I just everything now? I'm on a new diet.
Because truth be told, no matter how many of these diet hacks you do, you can do every single thing on this list, but if you're eating 500 calories, 800 calories, 1,000, 1,200, if you're eating very little calories compared to what you were eating before, like if you're eating 2,000 plus calories and you all of a sudden you decide to, I'm going to eat 500 calories or 800 calories, then obviously, even if you applied all the hacks on this list, you're still going to be starving, because guess what? Because if you go from eating 2,000 plus or 3,000 calories to eating like 800, obviously your body's going to be starving because you literally just cut out 80% of your calories right there.
Why am I so hungry?
And I'm going to be honest here. Yes, cutting a lot of calories will lead to faster weight loss, but it doesn't matter how fast you lose the weight if you aren't able to maintain it. And what happens to most people is that when they have these huge restrict cycles, then they'll bounce back just as high into a binge cycle and they get stuck in this yo-yo dieting cycle, like I said in my last video. So rather than just cutting 80% of your calories right off the bat, slowly cut your calories and incorporate more of these hacks so that you stay full and you don't feel like you're being super restrictive. Number 4, avoiding liquid calories. And honestly, a lot of people don't realize this one, that liquid calories really add up and they add up quick. And when I say liquid calories, I'm talking about things like soda, juice, alcohol, sweetened teas, sugar energy drinks, not the sugar-free, store-bought smoothies. They all add up and they add up very quick.
How many drinks do you have per week on average?
And the reason why liquid calories can be detrimental to staying full in a calorie deficit is because they don't really fill you up all that much. Because if you think about it, last time you drank an alcoholic drink or juice or soda, it didn't really fill you up all that much. Meanwhile, These things can have 100, 200 plus calories per serving. Next thing you know, you've downed 3 to 5 of these suckers, and now you have an extra 500 to 1,000 calories just worth of drinks. Whereas if you just ate food with those 500 to 1,000 calories, you would be much more full and you would be much more satisfied. And then this brings me to my next tip, which is incorporating more diet drinks, sparkling water, or 0-calorie sweeteners. Because let's be honest, you've probably heard the generic advice over and over again to drink more water, and yeah, it helps. Everyone knows to drink more water, yet water can be boring at times. Sometimes we just want a sweet, tasty beverage. So how can we enjoy these sweet, tasty beverages but also limit the amount of liquid calories that we're getting? We incorporate more diet drinks, 0-calorie sweeteners, sweetened drinks, or sparkling water. And honestly, I am such a huge fan of soft drinks, bubbly drinks, and sweet food. So these are right up my alley. And to also circle back to point number 3, simply saying no and completely restricting yourself from this stuff can be a recipe for a binge later on down the road. So rather than completely removing these things from your diet, you can replace them, and it even shows in the science that we are more likely to stick to a habit if we find something that we can replace that habit with, rather than trying to completely cut out that habit. So if you like soda, consider switching to diet soda, seltzer, sparkling water, sugar-free juices, or even replacing the sugar that you usually put in your coffee with a 0-calorie sweetener. You can do that same thing with teas, and then you can even use 0-calorie sweeteners in your baked goods or whatever type of cooking you do, rather than using the full calorie sugar. And before we move on to the next point, I do want to make this quick side note. Some people, after hearing this point, might be fear-mongered by the amount of bullshit that's out there about 0-calorie sweeteners or diet drinks. First off, diet soda and 0-calorie beverages has 0 calories. When it says 0 calories, yes, technically it has less than 5 calories, so they can round down to 0, but it's still a very small, insignificant amount of calories. This means that there's no way you're going to get fat from doing these. It does not trick your body into thinking it's fake sugar and then all of a sudden you store thousands of calories. That just literally doesn't happen. The math literally checks out, and your body doesn't magically get thousands of calories from drinking a very low-calorie product. Secondly, some people are going to say regular diet is better than diet soda because it has real sugar versus fake sugar. Look, I'm not going to say here and say that diet soda is super healthy and it's something you should replace everything in your diet with and drink it every single day, 50 times a day. But when it's compared to regular soda, they're just about the same level of healthiness. There's nothing inherently better or worse about regular sugar. There's nothing inherently better or worse about artificial sweeteners. But if we really want to talk about health, if they are on even grounds for health, if you are able to drink diet soda and have artificial sweeteners and be able to lose weight and get healthier, then I would say that's a huge healthy move, rather than drinking these full calorie drinks and not being able to lose weight and keeping that fat on your body. Thirdly, artificial sweeteners are not bad for you and will not give you cancer or insert some fatal, dangerous disease. There's literally no evidence on this, and people who do have supposed evidence are clearly cherry-picking data that's not supported by the weight of the evidence. If you look long and hard enough,
That's what she said.
you are going to eventually find some evidence for something out there that causes cancer. So don't be afraid of low-calorie sweeteners and low-calorie drinks. Enjoy them, and if they help you stick to your diet and lose weight, then that is a huge win.
It's diet, dude. Diet soda doesn't give you diarrhea.
Next tip, make sure you get enough sleep and catch those Z's. Truth be told, I think sleep is one of the most underrated components when it comes to both muscle building and fat loss. And oftentimes, I see this with a lot of people. They'll nail their training, they'll nail their diet, but when it comes to their recovery and sleep routine, it's pretty lackluster.
Guys, I was up all night.
And if you ask me, sleep is really the most underrated supplement in terms of both building muscle and losing fat. It can help you regulate hormones that control hunger, stress, and alertness, improve concentration, cognition, productivity, performance, reduce your risk of heart disease and stroke. It can improve blood sugar and insulin sensitivity, improve immune function, decrease inflammation, and improved muscle recovery, and the list goes on and on, but sleep just has so many more benefits. But in terms of the topic that we are discussing in this video, I really want to focus on the hunger impacting aspect of it. For one, it just comes down to simple math. The longer you are sleeping, the less time you have to eat. Think about it. Who has ever woken up at the middle of the night and walked to their fridge and gotten a midnight snack? You would not have gotten that midnight snack if you slept throughout the night.
Eating and sleep are closely connected, you know.
Secondly, sleep helps manage your hormones, specifically the two hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin. An easy way to remember the difference between these two hormones is that leptin is the hormone that suppresses appetite. So think leptin makes you thin, and then ghrelin is the hormone that increases appetite. Think ghrelin makes you growl. And naturally during sleep, leptin levels are going to go up to suppress your appetite, and then ghrelin levels are going to go down so that you don't get hungry while you're sleeping, obviously. And so when you are depriving yourself of sleep, you don't give a chance for your hormone levels of leptin to rise and ghrelin to go down. So this throws your hormones all out of whack. And also sleeping helps regulate stress. So when you don't sleep enough, you have increased stress levels, your leptin and ghrelin levels are all out of whack. And so you start eating all of these extra calories, and then you wonder why you're not able to lose weight.
Where'd all this come from?
And then obviously, if you struggle with stress eating and you're not getting enough sleep, when you don't sleep, you're getting stressed and you're tired. And I don't know about you, but I don't think anyone has ever made good decisions while they were stressed and tired. And especially if you are trying to be in a calorie deficit, you need to be in the best state of mind to stay on track with your diet, to get your workouts in, and to stay adherent to your program. So if you want to stay full in a calorie deficit, I highly recommend getting adequate sleep. Next tip is going to be the opposite of what the most interesting man in the world says. Don't stay thirsty, my friends. This is because when you're not properly hydrated, you start to crave more watery foods just because your body needs water from some source, and a lot of us don't remember to drink a lot of water. So I'm going to keep this one short. Water has no calories. Water fills you up. Water helps keep you hydrated. That's pretty much it. Nothing rocket science about that.
I'm just saying it's not rocket science.
Number 8, stop cutting out your favorite foods. And after hearing that one, you're probably like, wait, I should eat pizza and ice cream if I want to lose weight?
Just give me all the bacon and eggs you have. Wait. I worry what you just heard was, give me a lot of bacon and eggs. What I said was, give me all the bacon and eggs you have. Do you understand?
And while I'm not saying that that's all you should be eating, you shouldn't be cutting all of that out from your diet either, because we still want some sort of flexibility within your diet. And let's think about it. If you told your kid, hey, don't touch the burning hot stove, what happens 0.4 seconds later? They go and touch that burning hot stove and they burn themselves and they get hurt.
I told you not to touch the hot stove!
Same thing goes for you. As much as we like to think that we are full-grown adults, we're really just big children running around. So when you tell yourself, no, don't eat this specific food, stay away from it, this food is bad, it triggers you something in your head to go, I want that more now because I'm telling myself that I can't have it.
You know what? I'm going to start dating her even harder.
And as the saying goes, we all want what we can't have. So when we flip the switch and say that we can have these foods and allowing yourself permission to have these foods literally anytime, as long as it fits within your calories, if you tell yourself I can have this food anytime I want, as long as I have the calories for it, then you're less likely to just binge on these foods or crave these foods because you're giving yourself permission and you know that I can have these foods anytime I want, and you go into this abundance mindset rather than a scarcity mindset. Now on to point number 9, stay busy and keep moving. If there's one thing I've learned over my years of coaching experience and also with my own dieting patterns is that when I am busy and moving around all the time, or when my clients are busy and moving around all the time, they actually face the opposite problem of being hungry all the time. They actually find themselves skipping meals and not eating enough. And then with these specific types of clients, I actually have to work on getting them to actually sit down and eat more versus not eating as much. So if you're someone who's, say, working from home or just lounging around at home all day, it can be very tempting with your fridge and pantry right there. So instead, find some way to keep yourself busy so that rather than walking around your fridge and pantry and having all this free time to just go there and exit and snack on random stuff and put random stuff in your mouth, stay busy and keep moving, and you'll find that you won't be as tempted to go eat at random times and eat random snacks. And besides, rather than sitting around and lounging around and know that you can get some movement in, go for a short walk. Keep moving, do something to help keep you busy and help keep you moving, whether it's just random mundane tasks. I know that you can definitely find something you need to do, whether that's vacuuming your place, cleaning the place a little bit. You can always find something to do. Stop lounging around
And get up off your ass!
and keep in mind, this stuff is called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It doesn't have to be actual exercise to burn calories. If you go around vacuuming your house, or you go around just wiping things down, or you go and do your dishes, that still counts as calories burned because you are moving your body. It literally takes physical calories and energy to move your body to do those things. Although you might not burn as much energy as just running on the treadmill for an hour, you're still burning calories, and you don't have to think about this as exercise. You don't have to go to the gym and get your workout gear on to do this stuff. This is literally stuff you can do immediately and around your house. And number 10, the last tip, and I know this might sound kind of counterintuitive because I spent this whole video talking about how to stay full and not hungry in a calorie deficit, but number 10 is knowing that hunger is not an emergency. And the biggest point about this is that hunger is a completely normal part of the calorie deficit process. If you are in a calorie deficit, you are literally taking less energy than your body needs, and obviously your body is a smart piece of machinery. It knows this. So intuitively, the thing it's going to do is start sending signals to your body and telling you that you are hungry, so that you get out of this calorie deficit, you start to eat a little bit more, and you start to provide the energy that your body needs. It doesn't care how you want to look for the summer. It doesn't care that you want to get a little bit healthier. All your body knows how to do is prime itself for survival. And I think that we've been so conditioned by our society that the first sign you see of hunger, the minute that your stomach starts growling, the minute that you start feeling those hunger pangs, and the minute that you start thinking about food, that you should go and immediately get it.
You haven't eaten in like 10 minutes. You want to find some food?
But we have to take a step back and realize that this isn't the 1800s anymore. We have food readily available. What's the worst thing that could happen? You go without food for a couple of hours and you run down to the grocery store or you run down to a restaurant to pick up some food. Hunger is not an emergency, and it's totally normal to feel a little bit of hunger when you're in a calorie deficit. Now, obviously, someone's gonna be like, oh, so you're saying I should be starving all the time and it's completely normal to be starving on a calorie deficit? No, that's not what I'm saying. You shouldn't be completely ravenous thinking like you could literally bite someone's head off or eat an entire Thanksgiving meal for 4, but it's totally fine to be feeling a little bit of hunger when you're in a calorie deficit at the end of the day. And for some people, when they've literally been overeating for the majority of their lives, this can be hard for them to know how it feels like. It might be a new sensation that they're just simply not used to. But for everyone, if we want to think about the hunger scale on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being that you are completely stuffed, think about the last time you went to a buffet and you completely stuffed yourself to the point where like you would literally throw up if you had another piece of food. That would be number 10. Number 1 would be I did not eat for like 3 days straight and I'm completely starving out of my mind. Generally, in a calorie deficit, it is normal to feel a hunger level around a 3 to 5. We want to try to keep your hunger levels from going below a 3 because obviously if you are ravenous, you're much more likely to eat everything in sight and just overstuff yourself. And again, I want to reiterate that if you experience this level of hunger, do not panic. Food is readily available. You don't have to go hunt for it anymore. You don't have to all of a sudden not eat for a month. You can always get more food when you're hungry, and just remember to follow these above tips on picking your food choices. And that about covers all of the tips that I wanted to cover in this video, but I'm going to leave you off with a quick list of 10 foods to help you stay full in a calorie deficit. And these are foods that I have personally found works best with my diet in terms of flexibility, enjoyability, and it has helped my clients as well as just staples that you should be keeping around your place. So number 1 is egg whites, and a common question I get with this is, oh, so I shouldn't eat whole eggs? No, no one is saying that you shouldn't eat eggs and you should only eat egg whites, just that egg whites are going to be a pure protein source, so it can help you easily hit your protein intake and fill you up for less calories. Number 2 is going to be Greek yogurt. Make sure to choose the non-fat version of this. I know the full fat version can have a lot of fat into it, and which means it also adds a bunch of calories. Number 3, potatoes, one of the highest rated foods on the satiety index, which is basically a rating for foods that are the most filling. And of course, this doesn't mean eat a bunch of French fries fried in high calorie oil.
Bottomless fries?
Try to cut down on the amount of oil usage you use to cook your potatoes. I personally really like them air fried or baked. Number 4 is going to be popcorn, and again, stay away from the movie theater butter and the really high calorie, high fat ones. The best way to keep these lower calorie is to get the Orville Redenbacher Smart Pop. Those come pre-packaged, or you can get an air popper and air pop your own popcorn. Number 5, strawberries. An entire pound of strawberries only has 150 calories. And personally, I love strawberries. If you're someone who likes strawberries and sugar, I don't know who really does, but I saw that in the grocery store one day. But I've been just getting strawberries and throwing a little bit of Splenda on them just for a little bit of sweetness on top of that. Number 6, watermelon, another incredibly low calorie fruit. An entire pound of watermelon only has 140 calories, so when summertime comes around, be sure to stock up. Also contains a lot of water, hence the name, so it can help keep you hydrated and full, and you can check off the staying hydrated box. Number 7, oats, one of the few carb sources that are actually filling. Contains a lot of fiber for good poops.
And then later, I'll enjoy a nice poop.
And also the thickening nature of it as you cook it helps it digest slower and keep you fuller for longer, especially when you combine it with other satiating foods like fruit or protein. Number 8, your typical meats, chicken, fish, pork, steak. Again, these are going to be high protein sources, and protein is the most filling macro, and also it's slower digesting. The only thing with meats is that we want to be wary of the higher calorie meats, so cuts of meat that contain a lot of fat. But other than that, go to town on your protein and meat intake.
I want some man meat.
Number 9, spinach. A whole pound of spinach has only 104 calories, and it contains a metric fuck ton of micronutrients and good stuff in it. And also it's pretty versatile. You can make it as its own dish, or you can combine it with a bunch of other stuff.
Spinach in a can. Powerful spinach.
And lastly, number 10 is going to be protein shakes. These are probably going to be the most bang for your buck in terms of protein to dollar ratio.
Protein powder, huh? You cut it with water? Why don't you just take estrogen?
There you go, boys. See how Papa takes care of you?
However, know that protein shakes are absolutely not necessary. They are only a quick and convenient source. But if you do want a solid protein powder to go with, be sure to check out my supplement sponsor, Legion. I will go ahead and leave a link to their products in the description below. Also, be sure to try out my code AC to save yourself extra money on Legion products. And that about wraps it up for this video. Hope these tips have helped you better your weight loss journey to stay full in a calorie deficit. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more, and I will catch you in the next one.